Correct.
And
That is correct, Joe. Thanks for having me on the podcast. It is a three-way race, and the other two candidates are, Janet had been with
Janet
the
Blazinski.
county clerk's office for
Yep.
several years. Both very well known within our community, well respected. I expect this to be a close race right down to the end. Um, Hoping it plays out in my benefit. But you got to get out there and let your voice be heard. So we'll do our best. Well, Joe, I've been asked that question several times of why do you want to jump into the political world? Um, as you mentioned, I first jumped in a couple years ago when I decided to file for a state rep position. I ran against Mr. Pat Proctor. I lost by about 456 votes. On a No, no, not bad at all. I filed at the last moment. I campaigned for 96 days. So for 3 months of campaigning, I thought that was a win-win for me. I actually believe, I think our constituents are ready for a change. We're just going to have to get our voice out there, and we got to get past this mentality of my vote doesn't matter, because your vote does matter. And I do want to hear from my constituents. I have no political objective in running for county commissioner at all. But Mr. Culbertson's going to be a hard seat to fill. He's been a long-term county commissioner. He was head of GIS for several years. He knows a lot about the county, the way it runs, the officiating, as you might say. But no, little background. I was born and raised here in Leavenworth, Kansas. Graduated from Leavenworth High School. I owned a small construction.
What year was that?
81. 81.
Okay.
So um, the I own small construction company. Been self-employed 90% of my life. We've cut back the last couple of years and went more into buying and selling, flipping homes, basically. Um, it's I've told everybody I've ever worked for, I've never made $1 million on one job, but I've probably made 1 million on 1 million. So yeah, I not one of them contractors that went in and tried to get you for 50,000 for a kitchen remodel. That wasn't my base customer. Mostly work for the working families of Leavenworth County and the surrounding counties. Um, and I'd like to take that approach into my campaign as being county commissioner. It's We've got some budget issues we're gonna have to work out, and we might have to live like the working man does. We might have to live week to week for a little bit and figure out how we're going to get our budget down or work within our budget and the money we have to survive for the next year. It doesn't look like we're going to get a whole lot of help from the state on property taxes, and that is probably the number one concern for my constituents. Joe, I think we're going to have to reach out to our organizations within Leavenworth County, LCDC, and we're going to have to maybe work together as a team for a little bit. Get the city, the county, organizations together, and we're going to have to bring. We're not going to be able to live on our tax base. The theory is we build more homes, we get more taxes. Well, eventually, we're going to run out of land for that. Um, as I said on the board of planning and zoning, our number one concern is we want to keep Leavenworth County rural. Well, to keep it rural, we just can't keep spreading out land. We've got to figure out a way to use these industrial parks that take, for instance, in Linwood area, we've had an industrial park since the 60s that doesn't have one thing in it. I know the sand plan is a hot topic that's coming up here in the next few weeks or next few months. Um, but we've got to get big industrial in that's going to pay their share so we can lighten the burden on the homeowner taxpayer. Yes, the answer to that question is yes. I would seek funding to support LCDC. I think it's going to be critical in the next 5 to 6 years that that we that we work together. I mean, we're going to have to support them. They're going to have to put in some hard, long hours to reach out to these companies and entice them to come to Leavenworth County. And but on the other hand, we have to have something to entice them with. Um, our business park on Eisenhower, I don't see a major corporation coming in here that needs 200 trucks in and out a day. It's That's not feasible going down Eisenhower to 7 Highway. I think we need to look at some options. Tonganoxie area, that southern expansion area. Um, we've talked about a rail yard type situation. We've never developed anything with that. And maybe those are some options we need to take long, hard looks at. I think the number one, well, let me get that little thought before I speak out of text here. But I believe we need to have an open book with our public. Uh, Transparency is probably the number one key in letting my constituents know where we stand, where we're going forth, and the plans we have that may impact their lives. I think the number one issue there is you have to remember that the 1% cry the loudest is what I've found out from sitting on planning and zoning. We've had that issue several times. But you're correct. As a whole, we have to look out for the 70 plus thousand people in our county. 300 aren't the voice for everybody. Um, I think an easy way to solve that problem is we put that on a tax ballot. These major issues that come up and it's a big discrepancy, just put it to a vote. Let the people actually have their voice and let them speak of what they actually want Leavenworth County to turn into. Well, as a small business owner, we need to make every nickel count. Um, the we hear fraudulent spending and I don't have the county books in front of me. I did 2 years ago when I was running for state rep. I did sit down and spent about 7 days going through the county budget, trying to educate myself. And there was situations that I had to call one of my commissioners and say, hey, what are we paying for this? And what is this ag deal we're sharing with Jefferson County? Well, and they turn out to be state mandated things that the county has to fund. And we've teamed up with other counties to fund those, which I think is a pretty decent idea. If we don't have the money and Jefferson County didn't have the money, or Atchison County. And once again, Joe, I think it's we're going to have to realize we need to work together. I don't think we've seen that in the last 15 years. I haven't seen where the city wants to work with the county doesn't want to work with the city. Um, Planning and zoning issues where we've reached out to Baser or Tongi or whomever, very few times do we get a response back. I mean, sometimes we do, but most of the time, no reply. Um, and I think it's going to take teamwork to make this dream work. And that's a cliche saying, but that's what it's going to take. We're going to have to sit down and we're going to need a team to win. So that's another tough one. Once again, from my experience on planning and zoning, the our number one deficit is we don't have enough rural land, and we want to keep Leavenworth rural. Um, and as far as developments, and I've said this several times, we need to come from the cities out. The sporadic growth in the middle of the county and out here in the county, um, we need to put a stop to that. And I understand that everybody's coming here for our beautiful 2.5 acres and 5 acre tracts. I understand that. And we're probably not going to stop that. But as far as industrial, the city, that we need to start from within and grow out. I mean, that was the original plan I think our county's commissioners have had, and probably need to try to stick to that. We're going to need some buffer zones between industrial and city. There'll be lighting issues. Traffic studies are going to have to be done. There's a lot that needs to go into it, but mainly we need to, let's stop the sporadic. Hey, let's throw 50 homes out here in the middle of nowhere. If we can bring them closer to the city and grow out, I think we'll see our cities doing a little bit better as well. Yeah, yeah, I think that's where I'm going with that. Yeah, we can't support our cities and the growth, our schools. I mean, we have some real problems and issues with our schools right now. And number one is funding issues. Sure. We've got to get a grip on that as well. Once again, you the District 1, as I've always told everybody, which is the district I represent, we're pretty much the stepchild of Leavenworth County. That, yeah, that no, Easton, Kickapoo, they've all, one time Kickapoo was supposed to be the main hub for Leavenworth County. Didn't happen. It didn't happen. Oh, that was back in the 1857, 50, right when we were developing this whole area. Kickapoo was hoping to be the county seat. Okay. But Leavenworth with the fort and and I'm sure it was all a political game back then as well. So Leavenworth got the county seat, Kickapoo kind of got the shaft. If you ever look back at any of the old plats of Kickapoo, that would there were supposed to be 3,000 homes out there at any one given time. I mean, there's several plats still left. Um, but I'm not sure District 1 wants to expand like 3, 4, and 5. And the, 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 the factor in that is we're not in the growth path that 3, 4, and 5 are in. We've got DeSoto coming north. You got all of Johnson County coming north. Now we have all of Wyandotte County moving west. And we're going to see some tremendous growth in the next 5 to 7 years. Yes, and I've said this several times at the planning and zoning. Hey, we need to get on board for this. And what's our plan? Um, and it's kind of well, we'll plan for this as it comes. And once again, it's a money issue. There has to be studies paid for, and we don't want to spend money frivolously. But yeah, I don't see District 1 expanding like we're going to see in 3, 4, and 5. We don't have that growth in the northern part of the county, and I'm not sure the northern part of the county wants that growth. It would be nice to get a grocery store in District 1, as District 1 right now sets from Shawnee to Atchison County line, and we don't have a grocery store anywhere in that area. Oh, I believe there, when I ran for state rep, which was 41, which District 1's a majority of that. I believe we had about 13,000 registered voters. Now, I don't know the exact population, but give or take in there. So we're not a huge part of the county. Well, once again, Joe, that's going to go back with the expansions, and we're going to need buffer zones. And I've mentioned this before. We the We're going to have to locate our housing developments near our resources. We can't just throw them out in the middle of nowhere and expect the neighborhood to accept them. We're and the other end, we're going to have an open policy about that too, because it's going to happen. District 1 eventually is going to get a housing development out there somewhere. And I think it'll be a big hot topic. But I believe if we talk to the people and weigh the benefits and the disadvantages, the tax revenue is always great, but once again, we're pretty rural up north. Not a whole lot of people are ready to sell their property for a 250 home housing development. I don't know if we're actually at the market value that the southern end of the county is yet, but we're open for business. Um, I think we need to stop listening to the 1% that cry the loudest. But once again, we've got several issues coming up. The data center. Are we willing to give up 500 acres for a data center versus 1,000 homes? We need to look at the revenue generated I'm not sure a data center is all bad. I, I, I haven't dug 100% deep into it. Um, but the sound to $9 to $11 million a year doesn't sound too bad to me for a taxpayer base. Um, and I might rather have one data center than 1,000 homes. Um, no, no. And we're not going to put the capacity on our schools. 1,000 homes, you're gonna have figure two per home, another 2,000 kids. Um, Schools are going to need to build. They're not ready for another 2,000 children. Once again, there goes our school taxes up again, which in Leavenworth County, your school tax is probably 60% of your property tax right now. The schools are at a real issue here of a financial burden that we need to figure out how to fix this. Yeah, well, yeah, and that's a trick question. It's a trick question. Do I want 1,000 more homes, or do I want one giant building? And once I said, Joe, I haven't dove deep into the data center issue. I've read several reports about the noise issue. It's the silent noise that the birds stay away and the cattle don't want to be near it, and your hearing loss. I don't know that any of those are actual facts. I don't I don't think we data centers have been around long enough for a 15-20 year case study and the bad habits they bring with it. We'll just put it. And you're correct. And we can go back to when Tyson wanted to come into Tonganoxie. Everybody loves chicken. Everybody likes chicken wings, but you don't want to raise chickens in your backyard. Um, yeah, so it's not really what we like, but what do we need to offset our tax base? We've got to bring something in. We can't just keep building homes and building homes and building homes and more roads, which come with more road improvements, which is more tax dollars, more tax dollars. That I don't see that as a great solution for fixing our property tax issues in Leavenworth County. Um, it would be nice if we could get 80% of the county paying taxes or pilot checks. Um, you know, the issue right now is the big pilot check for the ambulance service. I haven't heard anything on that yet, where that's when, if we're going to keep that up. Well, once again, another trick question. Is 400,000 enough to keep an ambulance on the fort at all times? I believe the county's asking for 2 million, which seems like a lot of money. But I've followed a situation in Ohio where a little town, New Brennan, they need to purchase a new ambulance, um, and they had to save for it. They bought bonds and they did some stuff that we can't do here in Kansas. But a new ambulance is about $785,000. So if an ambulance is in an accident and it's taken out of commission, we're $800,000 out of pocket. I mean, insurance is going to pay part of that, and I get that, but I don't think most people realize the cost associated with running an ambulance service. Um, I by no means thought an ambulance would be $800,000. Um, but then I started looking into, hey, what's a new fire truck cost? Yeah, millions. Uh, Ladder trucks, 2.7 million. The expense is astronomical. Um, I cry about doorknobs being $27 for a doorknob. Um, we're doing these on these flip houses, and it seems like the price just keeps going up and going up every year. And the lumber hasn't went up, but it's the small items. It's the doorknobs, the door stops, the hinges that we used to be able to buy for $400 or $500, and now you're spending $2,000 on little things. So, and as you get more into, hey, I want to run for office and I want to look into this, when you really start looking into it, it's not the big things that are the problem. It's all the little things that add up time after time again. I don't think 400,000 is enough. Um, we, and I've said this, and this may hurt some people's feelings, but um, 20, 30 years ago, maybe 15 years ago, Fort Leavenworth was a real asset to Leavenworth County and to the city of Leavenworth. But and people say, well, what still is? It gives us hundreds of jobs, thousands of jobs. Well, the problem is them thousands of jobs aren't here. They don't live here in Leavenworth County anymore. At the end of the day, they're driving right across that Centennial Bridge to Platte County, Clay County, Johnson County. Property taxes are a third less over there. Well, I don't believe we have any contract with the fort right now. So right, and I've heard that being brought up about, well, the insurance pays for it. Well, yeah, yeah, and the insurance pays a portion of it. And Joe, and I don't have those numbers in front of me. It like I said, and that's an ongoing an issue. I'm not a county commissioner yet. Hopefully I will be a county commissioner, and we can address those issues, really sit down and I'm not able to sit down with Fort Leavenworth at the moment and negotiate a deal. I'd be more than happy to do that as a county commissioner. A fair deal that's fair for the county and Fort Leavenworth. Um, and you brought up the deal about, hey, we we need them to support Leavenworth. Well, we're going to have to get on board and bring something back to Leavenworth to help support Leavenworth. I tell everybody, I said, where do you go in Leavenworth to buy a pair of cowboy boots right now? Nowhere. Where do you go in Leavenworth to buy your brand new pair of 501 Levi's? Oh, nowhere. I've got to go to Legends or I got to go to Zona Rosa. We used to have that here. We used to have a pretty much thriving downtown in the 70s, 80s, maybe into early 90s, and we lost all that somehow. Um, blame part of that on big box stores that move in. You push the little guy out, little guy can't make it. Um, downtown's open 8 to 5, 8 to 6. Some nights I work till 6, 7 o'clock. I'm not going to get there till 8 o'clock to go buy a pair of jeans. Um, we got to work, and once again, this is coming back to where the county and the cities, we're going to have to work together to get a plan. Um, I would love to see a big shopping mall in here. Um, Lansing's got a great shot out there. They've got area where we could put in a how about a Menards and everything that comes around a Menards or a Lowe's. I mean, Lowe's is a solid. Yes, it would be, but we need a bigger Home Depot. I'm a contractor. Our Home Depot has 1/3 of what the Home Depot has on 152 highway. Um, yes, where it's I believe ours is a D store. Most the one down on Merriam Lane is an A store. 4 times the size of our store. Yeah, I mean there's a lot that we don't carry here that you've got to either order it, wait for it several days, or you drive down to Johnson Drive or you know Merriam Lane, whichever the Home Depot of your choosing. 152 is closer for me. Um, but yeah, I mean, so you're still going out of Leavenworth. We're still losing that sales tax. I mean, I don't know exactly the number we get on the sales tax from the box stores, but we're losing that already. Um, and once I said it, if we bring in a large business like that, then we'll get the smaller businesses that come with it. And I'm not talking another Subway or a Dollar Tree. I'm talking, famous footwear, maybe a ladies store, a men's store. I'm not sure there's anything healthy about that all the way around. That, I think this all comes back to clarifying with the public what's your real intentions and what's the outlook, the outcome that you're looking for. Um, and it's and we're not going to disagree 100%, or we're not going to agree 100% of the time. And you're going to disagree on a lot of things. Um, Unfortunately, it's a 3-2 deal. The one that gets the others to vote for you, you're the winner. And I'm not sure that's always a win-win for the county. Um, we're going to have to take a good hard look at that. Like you said, there's 3 open seats this year for county commissioner. We could see and I tell everybody, we could see a real change on the political views of the county commission. We may go straight, hey, we're staying rural. We don't want any development. We're going to do 5, 10, and 20-acre tracts because that's what the people want. Or we could go crazy the other way and say, hey, man, we're all for bringing business in. Let's pop 10,000 homes in. This Baser, Tongi, that whole corridor, we're going to blow that up because of the expansion that Wyandotte County's coming west. Let's compete with them. Let's bring that tax base right here to Leavenworth County. It's so is that going to be healthy? I don't know, Joe. I don't have a great answer for that. Number one, I want to offset property tax. I want to find the loophole at the county level that says, hey, I've had some, thought I had some pretty good ideas. And this ain't going to be real popular with my construction buddies, but hey, we have the transfer station out here. What do we do? 1,000,000 tons a year? And I don't have that exact number, but we do at least 1,000,000 tons a year. Let's raise that transfer fee $2 a ton, Joe, and take that 2 million and let's pull it out of there and throw it right back on property tax. Well, can't do that. That's illegal. Can't do it under county statute. Can't do it under state statute. That money's got to stay within the general budget. Well, we need a loophole. I mean, we've got ways to generate money. The county has its own rock quarry. It's leased through Hams. I don't know what our contract with Hams is, but maybe we renegotiate that and we get some contract with Geigers or Pennies, and maybe we sell them more rock, more gravel, um, sand if necessary, and we put some of that money back towards property tax. Now, once again, there's got to be a loophole, but that's what I'm working for. If we can't lower property tax, then we need to look for the loopholes where we can offset them within county money. Boy, that's another trick. That's transparency. I would like for to be heard as, hey, Robert's available for the people. That's success. If you could take the time to listen to everybody that has a concern, whether I can answer their question or we can figure out a solution, but if you can listen to them and work for work through the problem, the problems can be solved. Um, you just got to find a solution to a problem. There's those words are contradicting there, but if we could, yeah, I think transparency. If there's a question, why are my taxes so high? And we can sit down and be like, well, here's and evaluations. That's a huge issue right now. The and once again, Joe, the everybody wants to live in Leavenworth County. Um, we live on a small parcel. We bought it 5 years ago for basically 10,000 an acre. Oh, wow. Right at the height of COVID, 10,000 an acre. Everything around me right now has doubled, plus some. 20,000 an acre. But people that are coming from the East Coast, Upper East Coast, Florida, Texas, California. When you're living in California and you sell a 1,200 square foot home for $675,000, and you come here to Leavenworth County and you see these splits that I'm just going to throw Dan Lynch out there that he's building 420, 450, and you're getting 2,700 square foot. These people thought they've died and went to heaven. You're out here on 2.5 acres. You got a home. You still got 200,000 left from what you sold your property in California for. Man, this is the perfect place to live. And they're right. Leavenworth is the perfect place to live. I love our county. Like I said, I live out in the Kickapoo area, Salt Creek Bottoms. It is absolutely beautiful out there. I understand why everybody wants to move there. But as they're coming from the east and west, they're willing to pay more than what I am. We're just going to see the cost. Our costs are going to keep going up, which is unfortunate. But that's that's the way of life. I mean, if we would have came here in 1857, we could have got the land for free. So My wife and I were just talking about this today. We're watching Channel 4 News. They're going to build the starter homes in southern Johnson County. Was it Olathe area down there? And they were saying the starter home price is going to be $400,000 for a starter home. And as I look around it, like I said, doorknobs. 5 years ago, I was buying doorknobs for $7.97. Now they're $20. It's the little things in the home that are going up and up and up, and you don't realize that. Our labor cost. Nobody wants to work for $15-$20 an hour anymore. Skilled carpenters are 25 to 40, $50 an hour. That just I don't know how we're going to solve the starter home problem. Um, and I I don't see an issue. Unless Geiger's wants to drop their concrete price back down to $110 a yard, and we're going to buy roofing shingles for $19 a bundle. But corporate America is not going to let that happen. The we saw that big hike when COVID came through, and some of the items have came back down, but the majority have not. And we've got a labor problem as well. We don't have a whole lot of licensed contractors that are out there just framing up homes anymore. Yeah. The land cost, like I said, land costs have went through the roof. Um, they say it's about $1 million a mile now to put in a hard surface road. That's a huge chunk of money to put in a subdivision. To when you got $1 million and you haven't even built a house yet. Early riser. Oh, we're generally up by 5:30. Coffee all day long. Black. I've read several books lately. Maybe The Death of Patton.
Oh,
Wow. The political. Yeah. No, it might surprise a lot of people. The political turmoil within our military, and the the thoughts of some of our commanders versus the thoughts of our political leaders. I want to be a cowboy. Well, this could be arguable. I've always told everybody in what I do, I could teach a blind monkey to do it.
okay.
I'm pretty good with the teaching skills. I don't mind. I tell all my guys there's no such thing as a dumb question, only a dumb mistake. Ask a question if you don't know. Patience, Joe. And I think everybody struggles with that. The patience is a hard deal. I want it now, and that's just not how God works. Boy. Um, and this is just from my constituents who've reached out. Um, my wife's a realtor. Our homeless issue. We have several properties. Um, that overlook the river up there that have been on the market for weeks, if not months. And it's hard to sell a $400,000, $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 when you get up there and you're looking out over this beautiful river in the valley, and there's people with a tent pitched on the bench. It's a hard sell. We once again, that's going to be a city, county. We need to work together. Let's get a solution for this. For me, it was core civic.
Oh wow!
Which is
it's deep.
Which is a huge topic right now. You know, and you hear both sides that they're gonna be living here. I don't believe that's the intention of core civic, the center. I think they're going to be shipped there. I think they're going to be shipped to their home country or out of here. They're not going to stay in Leavenworth. Huge issue. And you can argue it both sides for days. I know as you're a city council member, that was a huge issue for you. Appreciate everybody's time on the council. But they're a taxpayer. What, $1 million a year? 900 plus a year. That's I'll call that $1 million a year. That's a lot of homes we didn't have to build. Boy, I got a lot of habits, Joe. I'm an avid gamer, so yeah, I probably hit the Xbox every day for Call of Duty Black Ops.
Wow. That's got me.
Yeah, if you scroll back through my Facebook page, you'll see several years back, early days of Call of Duty. I played on a 4-man team. At one time, and this is just online gaming.
Sure.
We didn't, but I believe we were 52nd in the world. So pretty impressive for an old guy and 3 kids. Boy, there's a lot that frustrate me. I would say it's I'm just going to say it. The party not supporting party members. I think if we're all going to be Republicans, we need to have each other's back. There's a reason we have a primary. We're supposed to pick the best person that for the job, as we feel personally. I don't think these undermined attacks by the Republicans. We're supposed to be a team. That's the hard part to swallow. And I learned that 2 years ago. It just because you're on a team, sometimes don't mean it's a bunch of team players. Oh boy. Divorce probably. You know, that's the yeah, it's a hard decision. I've been divorced twice. My first time it was a tough one. Second time there was both times children were involved. Divorce is a you feel like a failure.
Wow.
And yeah, that I'm in person.
brutal.
And I told you, Joe, I have a whole book here of Chat GTP. This is what you're supposed to say when you want to get elected. I told you when I came in, I'm going to wing this.
Wow.
I want divorce is probably, if nobody's ever been through it, it is probably one of the toughest thing you'll ever have to do your whole life. And if you can get through it, which I managed, it struggled, and you can still be a friend with the one you divorced, I think you've accomplished something then. Wow. So there is victory at the end. It just may take you a while to find that victory. Well, I've got a couple go-to people. Um, Number one's probably my wife, Janet
Okay.
Shumway. Like I said, she's a realtor. She's been doing it several years. Um, she was also a teacher at Baser Linwood. Um, I think when you're struggling, if you can talk to the one you're with the most, and my wife usually leads me in the right way, and we don't always agree on everything, but as far as solid, honest advice, I'll probably say my wife. Money don't grow on trees, Joe. um, you get out there and you work hard every day. You show up. Um, you hear this deal. You get up, you make your bed, you show up. Um, we could always quote First Sarge and say you get fired up every day. Get out there, get to it, get the job done. And you don't always get the job done in that day, but if you put in an honest effort to it, you I think that's a fair shot. Would that have to be wasteful spending? Um, and I'm sure that's the answer everybody was going to say. Let's cut out the waste. Um, the problem is we got to find the waste. Um, what I think is what I may think is waste, somebody else may think that's essential. Um, yeah, that's a tough one, but if we could cut out the waste and get to the save every nickel, I think we can maybe pull through this. Do what you say you're going to do. I mean, sometimes that don't always happen. Events come up, but have the intention, the 100% attention of fulfilling your obligations. Cronus Hardware, supporting local, yes. I tell everybody this, Joe. It's my home. Um,
Okay.
we bought that 20 acres 5 years ago, and we've turned it into a vacation spot where I don't need to take a vacation. I think that's key to my success right now. Is when I get home, I'm on vacation. Should be blank. Well, well, that's another tough one, Joe. I said I was going to be honest, so Leavenworth's future should be optimistic. I
Okay.
mean, let's get our one time we were a 5A, 6A program here in Leavenworth. I think we're back down to what, a 4A school now.
Yeah, high
Yeah.
4A, low
Yeah,
5A.
high 4A. Yeah, let's get Leavenworth back to competing with them high end schools. Shawnee Mission and Olathe North, Olathe South. Um, we used to have our Raider team is top notch.
That's right.
Yeah, I would say, hey, let's work on that. But 7 times national champions, we got some real leaders right there at the high school for that. Um, and I think we can have the same thing for our football teams, our baseball teams. Um, had some pretty successful tennis teams over the years, and that's just Leavenworth. We've got some great schools out there. It's there's a reason people want to come here, Joe, and it's a place to be. They can contact me directly.
You just want to look at the camera
Yep,
and let
yep,
them know.
you can contact me directly at Robert Owens for District One on Facebook, or look me up Robert Owens on Facebook. I'll have a web page out here pretty soon, as soon as Joe and and company get it all finished up. I'll have a donation page directly on there. Um, and best ways to reach out to me. I mean, my number's public. I don't hide from from anybody, call me. If you got a question, call me. I'll be more than happy to sit down and talk with you.